Welcome back to another episode of Vaping with Giant Clouds, and today we're going to talk about the new Smok RPM kit. Right there. Special note. All these products that I review are purchased by myself for the purposes of this review. They're not provided by the manufacturer. I buy them all on my own to do little reviews on this for the benefit of our vape community. But anyway, back to the review. So the RPM kit is a pod style device that uses a Nord coil or a RPM coil, and I'm going to show you both here, but here's a look at the device like that. And it comes in a whole bunch of colors, which you probably saw in the intro, and it has a nice full color screen like this. And installed in this one is the Nord coil right there. And the kit comes with two pods, one for Nord coils and one for the RPM coils. And the RPM pod has a red gasket right there, so you know which one is which. And I'm going to, I already have this one soaked up a little bit here. And this one, the all black pod, is for Nord coils, like so. So the RPM pod is a 4.5 ml capacity, so it holds a ton of juice. And the Nord here is a 4.3 ml capacity. Here's a look at both real quick. I got some juice in both of them already. But to fill these, it's very simple. There's a little red gasket right there. And I like what the RPM pod they did. They went with clear, so you can actually see when you're filling it. The wicking port, or the fill port, is right here. You just pull this little rubber gasket like that, and you'll be able to see the fill port. It is actually pretty big. And what am I putting in this? Still rocking the Cycle Crawler Deep Cuts 18 Nick Freebase in that. So I'm just going to show you how to fill it like this. So like I said, you just go like this and fill it. And it's really nice that it's clear pod like that. So we're just going to fill this guy up. With any of these pod style devices, we do suggest that you fill up the pod and you let it sit for 3 to 5 minutes to make sure that you don't get a dry hit right away. So you just push this down here. Now when putting the pod back in the device, you can one of two ways like that, but you can't put it in this way because the airflow is actually right here. So front or back. Now looking at the screen here, it's full color, and if you hit both these buttons, it'll lock your wattage like this. So you can still fire it. Yep. But you can't adjust it or accidentally do that. Now to unlock the wattage, lock both buttons here. And to lock the whole device, 1, 2, 3, like that. And now, nothing. So let's unlock it. That. A few things to note. The screen is very clear. It'll show you resistance, your power, and this has quick charging built in. And speaking of charging, the charge port is right here on the bottom, micro USB. This chip that's in here is called the IQR chip. It's the new chip from Smok, and it is very responsive. I'm pretty happy with it. As for the airflow is on the side here and here, and it'll correspond to the coil, which is right there. So the air is going to go through the side of the device right there, and then through the coil, and then down the chimney, and then out there. So that's a look at that one. It comes in a whole bunch of colors, like I said before, but I'm going to show you how to install the coil. And with both of these, the installation is the same. You just pull this straight out. You know, what I like to do is I like to put a couple drops down here and hit each window and then pop it in and let it soak for a few minutes. You'll see on the Nord coil, and same with the RPM coil, that there's actually a flat side right there, right here, and here, and that will correspond to these side rails, so to speak. So when you put the coil in, you'll see side rails, and then you'll see like this, and you just push it in like that. The way you'll know if you got it in the correct way is the airflow will be facing outward, and you'll be able to actually put your fingernails under it and pull the coil out like that. If you have to change your coil while there's still juice in here, e-liquid, sorry, we suggest that you turn the pod sideways like this, and hopefully it's under where the coil is. You can sort of tilt it a little bit and just pull it straight out the side if there is any e-liquid in there. So putting this back in, same thing with the RPM, with the RPM pod, same thing here. Now, comparing the two coils that are pre-installed, the Nord coil is a regular 0.6 ohm coil, and the RPM is a mesh 0.4 ohm, and it's best at 25 watts, so we'll see. So I'll look at both of them real quick. You'll notice that the RPM is a little bit beefier, you know, but a lot of people like the Nord coils, and the, you know, lifespan of the Nord coils are pretty good. As for the device goes from 0 to 40 watts here, and I'll show you here. It goes all the way. It does not round robin, and it scrolls pretty fast. From my personal use, I like the RPM coil at about 25 watts where it's adjusted at, and for the Nord coil, the 0.6, I like to run it about 11 or 12 watts. But I'm going to hit this at 25 watts here real quick. The RPM coil, the 0.6 ohm mesh, flavor is fantastic. The device, it's very responsive, and it has a great feel. It has carbon fiber inlays right here. I don't know if that's real carbon fiber or not, but it feels nice. It sort of, I don't know, it doesn't feel plasticky or cheap. And I believe it's a zinc LA construction, but yeah, I'm digging it. Let me take another rip here. And that's at 25 watts here. The RPM40, like it says, the RPM40 goes up to 40 watts. But I like this coil at 25 watts here. And as for the draw on the RPM coil, the mesh, I'd call it the direct lung, is smooth. It's not very loud, not very turbulent, and it hits very smooth. So one more time. Flavor is great. I'm very impressed with the Smok pod system devices. I think this is where a lot of the pod style devices are going, with a pod with a replaceable coil instead of just a pod, because you have a little more, you know, flexibility when it comes to coils. And being the fact that it comes with the RPM pod and the Nord pod, that's another bonus, and it comes with two coils too. So inside the box real quick, we'll take a look. Standard micro USB, and then the direction manual right here, very clean and easy to read. Quality control card, and the two pods that are pre-installed here. So one more time with the install of the coils, like I said, look for the flat side here on the side, and those will correspond, oops, with like so. So you don't want to put the round side on the edges because you're just going to jam it in and it's going to not sit right. So one more time, just put this in here. Hello. One more time, you just drop it in like this. And I like to, like I said, put a couple drops down the coil, and I actually put a drop or two on the O-rings just to, so it sits real nice. And then you just push it down like that and just pop it into your device. Let it soak for a few minutes and give it a rip. But yeah, that's the Smok RPM40, and they're fantastic. This is awesome for travel. The fact that it has a 1500 milliamp hour battery and a over 4 mil pod, I mean, those are all pros to me. So I'm gonna be rocking this thing for a while, I'm sure. But I'm Johnny Clouds, keeping it cloudy, and let's take a rip on the direct, or the multi-lung. I totally forgot about that guy here real quick. So let's put it in like that. All right. So, oh, I totally forgot about the adjustments too. Here, let's do that. Okay, like that. Unlock. Now you can switch the colors by hitting the fire button and the bottom, or the down button, like this. And to clear your puff counter, it's the plus button and the fire button, and puff cleared. So anyway, a couple of rips on the multi-lung coil real quick at 11 watts. The flavor in the multi-lung coil and the restrictiveness is a little bit airy for a multi-lung in my opinion, but it's not terrible. You can actually multi-lung or direct lung with the Nord coil. Actually, this is not the Nord multi-lung coil. This is the Nord 0.6. But anyway, in a later video when I do the pod system roundup, we'll actually put a multi-lung in this also. But I'm Johnny Clouds. This is the Smok RPM. Come check them out, and everyone have a fantastic week and keep on vaping.